Debt doesn't have to be a bad thing. In the end, debt is just a tool. Now, if you don't know how to use a certain tool, I get it that you would say, no, I wouldn't want to. But if you know how to use it, it's the way to become rich. Because in the end, debt is just a way of saying, hey, we're using other people's money to our own advantage. Well, if you know how to do it, of course. Okay, well, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can do it as well. Okay, let's get into the video. Hey, what's up you guys? Lukas here from excelwealth.com. Now, great that you joined in today, because in today's video, I'll be showing you the good sides of debt and the bad sides of debt. But before we go into the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because that's the way how we can grow our community. And of course, hit that like button to influence the YouTube algorithms. Okay, let's get into the video. Now, the biggest thing that you have to understand is we have debt. Debt is actually just saying we are using other people's money to increase our purchasing power, and with that, hopefully, fill in the blank. Because in the end, if you're just buying a car, which is a consumer debt in this case, well, you know, you couldn't buy a car, it seems, beforehand, and now you can. And with other people's money, all of a sudden, you're able to buy a certain product. There are ways to make money using other people's money. But before we go into that, there is a definition that I want to show you first. Because we've got good debt and we've got bad debt. And the thing is, what is good debt and what is bad debt? Debt in general is using other people's money. Are you using other people's money to grow wealth in general? And do you generate cash flow? If the answer is yes, then it's very simple. We're talking about good debt. Now, if your debt, so you're using other people's money, not to increase your own wealth, and it doesn't generate any cash flow over time, then yes, we're talking about bad debt, okay? But the moment the debt is not causing you to grow in wealth, and nor is it generating any cash flow, then no. This is not something you should have. Well, at least not too much, at least. You don't want this too much. The moment you do have it, kill it off as you can. Okay, so now that we know these definitions, let's go into the examples that I want to show you. Now, the first debt that I want to talk about is business loan. I don't know if you know this about me, but my parents have a restaurant. My dad would always say, let's just save up $25K before buying the equipment that could help us in our restaurant. My dad would always be like that. So before having the $25K, he would work very hard, you know, everything would be manually. And then when he would have the $25K, then he would spend it on buying the equipment. And it was like, oh my goodness, I never thought that I would spend all the manual labor to do this. And now the machine is doing it just nicely. But it took him years to save up to the $25K to be able to buy the equipment. Now, in our generation, so me and my brother have taken over the stores, and now it's completely different. So instead of saying, hey bro, you know what? Let's just work hard and save up all the money to be able to buy the equipment again, somewhere around $25K. Now, instead of that, we would say, hey, you know what? Let's just take a loan out. Let's just take a small business loan of $25K, which has an interest rate of maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7%. And then the moment we buy the equipment using the debt, we can make a lot more money. And within that year, in the same year that we have the equipment, we're paying off the interest, but the machine is earning back its own loan. And hey, all of a sudden, we don't have to work years to actually earn up and save up the $25K. All of a sudden, the equipment is making its own money back. That's good debt. Why? Well, it's actually growing in wealth, because instead of hiring people to do the work that actually also costs money, we've got machinery that does the work. Makes it a lot easier, makes it automated, and does it generate cash flow? Absolutely. Because of the machinery, we can serve more customers, we can speed up the process. Everything related to more income is because of the machinery. So yes, it does generate cash flow. And with that, it said, hey, this is good debt. Now, like I said before, debt in the end is just a tool. It's just getting that equipment, you know, instead of working very hard, saving the money up to be able to buy the equipment years later maybe, we were able to buy the equipment just far sooner, all of a sudden we were able to make more money in a shorter time and didn't have to save up all the money first to be able to buy the machinery. But we could buy it up front and pay it off slowly. And in the end, we were able to pay off the debt within a year with the interest, and we made more money because of the equipment. Therefore, hey, good debt is in this case not a bad thing. Now, the second good debt example that I want to show you is something that could be discussable. Now, if you don't know this, of course, I'm a professor here in the Netherlands in a university. And of course, yes, is it good to have a student loan? Now, a student loan, I'll tell you this, having a student loan, okay, it's not maybe the best debt to have, but then again, take a look at this. Now, we've got students in our university who already have a college degree. They could work in the engineering department because they have a degree already. But then again, they're only making somewhere between 40 and 50K a year, working hands-on, doing a lot of hours in a week, and yet they're only getting 40 to 50K a year. Now, if you would take out a student loan, study full-time in a university, which most students are doing in our case, they're studying full-time for 4 years in a university, all of a sudden they get a master's degree in engineering. The moment they get to work, they make somewhere between 80 to 100K a year. Huge difference. They're actually investing in themselves in knowledge, and that knowledge will generate them more income over time, and maybe already in the first year after graduating. So this is why I believe that if you choose the right studies, if you choose the right degrees, you can make a lot more money than you did before without a degree or with a lower degree. And yes, then this debt of student loan is a good debt, because yes, does it actually grow in wealth? Well, in this case, knowledge. And does it generate cash flow? Maybe not directly, but because of your degree, you get more salary each month and every year. Then, okay, you'll be able to pay off your debt maybe in a few years' time, but hey, you're getting more money just because you do different kinds of work because of your certain degree that you have. And if you're actually thinking, which major should you take? Well, I always say it's the STEM, S-T-E-M, which is S for science, T for technology, E for engineering, and M for math. The moment you take a studies, one of these majors, yes, those are the highly paid jobs the moment you have a higher degree. This is why I work in the engineering and technology department, because hey, there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of skilled people who graduate who I can use in my business later on, of course. And yes, there is a strategy to it. Of course there always is. Now, you could take an arts degree. Yes, you could. But does it generate you more money directly? I don't know. I don't. But if you take an archaeology, like, oh, you know, I want to be like Indiana Jones. Or you could. But does it mean that you'll generate more money and cash flow right away? I don't know. Most likely, you don't. Yeah, I'm sorry, but you know, some majors just make more money compared to others. So yeah, you gotta make a good choice in what you're gonna study. Because if it's not gonna generate you any cash flow, I'll tell you this, as a university professor, that's a dumb choice. And yes, we always tell our kids and we always encourage each other to make the choices of your dreams. I get that. But I'll tell you this, if you're just making a dumb choice, it's just a waste of your money. I'm sorry, I can't do anything about that. It just happens, okay? Now, example number 3 of good debt is, of course, buying real estate. Buying real estate properties is a great idea because, yeah, in this world, we cannot buy real estate just like that. No, it doesn't go like that. Yeah, well, most people don't have 100K lying around like, oh, I just found $100,000 in my sofa between the cushions. But no, it's not. It's not like that. Now, if you would try to buy a property of $120,000 with cash only, and you would get a cash return, you know, it could be somewhere like, 10% on return each year, which is not a bad idea. But the moment you leverage that money, you only have to put down a 30% down payment, get 70% loan from the bank, and all of a sudden you're paying off a mortgage. Yes, I get that. The rental income that you get from the property is far more than the mortgage interest payments that you have. And in the end, yes, with all the calculations, you'll always have slightly less compared to the other one, but then again, you only put in 30%. And yes, if you want to see the full calculation, I've got a different video that talks about how to use loan money to buy real estate. Be sure to check out the video if you want to know more. But in the end, what you'll notice is that if you buy a property cash on cash and you'll get rental income from that, most likely it's somewhere like 10% return, which is a nice thing. But the moment you use leverage money, you'll see and you'll notice right away that the return on investment will almost be doubled, in most cases like 17 or 18% even. So that's the interesting part. You put in less money and all of a sudden you're getting the same income, and yes, you'll get some expenses like mortgage payments, but then again, in the end, you still have a lot left. And on your money, you've increased your purchasing power just because you took on a loan. And yes, these are the 3 big examples on good debt. Now let's go to the other side. Let's go to bad debt. Now the first bad debt example that I want to show you that everybody knows is credit card debt. Now you're buying things that you didn't have the money for yet, so you're saying like, you know what, I'll buy on credit. So I got a credit card, and yes, we also have credit cards here in the Netherlands, but not that many kinds of that in the US. But yes, we have credit cards, and you can buy almost everything with credit cards, and at the end of the month, you actually should pay in full, and if you don't, you'll be charged a certain amount of interest on the amount of money that you owe the credit card company. And yes, this interest rate is, in most cases, kind of high. And this is why you'll see a lot of people trying to pay off their credit card debts. Now, this could only be a few thousand in the beginning, but as long as you don't pay it off, the interest rates are high, so the amounts of money that keep on eating from your wallet is growing. And this is why credit card debt is one of the bad debts that are out there. You don't want to have a credit card debt because it's not generating you any wealth. It's not generating you any cash flow. No, it's not. It's totally not. Now, bad debt example number 2 is, of course, a car loan. I see this very often. That, you're young and, you graduate from your studies and you think, you know what? I'll just get a car. And yes, I can still drive my old Toyota Prius, secondhand, and it's not the sexiest car, but it takes me from A to B. But I do have a little bit of money, and I could take a car loan. And yes, car loans' interests are not that high, because it's somewhere between maybe 3 to 6%, which is not that great. It's not, it's not eating that much into your wallet. But I'll tell you this: the moment you buy that new car, the moment you drive it out of the garage, it depreciated like half of it. Well, depending on how much tax they charge you in your country. But yes, in the Netherlands, car taxes are like 40%. So the moment you drive the car out of the garage, 40%, boom, and it's gone, like they would say. Just like that, 40%. Just because you drove it out of the garage. This is why getting a car loan, does it generate you any wealth? Well, you look cool and driving in a car like, hey man, take a look at me, I'm a new driving car. Yes, that looks very cool in the beginning. But after a week or so, after a month or so, you don't feel that wealthy anymore with that car. It's the journey towards buying the car is very exciting. But the moment you get the car, it's like, it's not that great. It doesn't feel super cool anymore. Does it generate you any cash flow? Well, you might be thinking, yeah, but if you didn't have a car, I wouldn't be able to go to work and must make some money. I get that. But yeah, having that Toyota Prius, the secondhand thing, and does it drive you from A to B? Absolutely. Does it generate your cash flow? Well, indirectly it does. Does the new car generate you more cash flow? No. Most likely it doesn't. If you're a representative from a certain company, you need to go to clients. I don't think clients really mind if you go there with a Toyota Prius parked on their car, or if you would drive a brand new Mercedes or a very fancy car, which is very expensive. Now, there's no difference. I don't think a client would say, "Ooh, just because you drive a Mercedes, let me just pay you more." Well, I don't know about your country, but in my country, if in the Netherlands here, if you drive a very expensive car up to a client and say, "Hey, take a look at my expensive car," most likely the client will say, "Oh, so that's where the money goes to." Right? I don't know about your country, but let me know down below in the comments what your country would do if you would drive a very expensive car to a certain client and say, "Hey, we're taking your money, not to spend on a car, but what do you think about it? What do you think about a new car?" So let me know what your country would do, or people in your country would do, if you drive a very expensive car. These are the examples of good and bad debt. And of course, why just taking out money from the bank or from other people is totally fine as long as you know what to do with the money. Remember, debt is just a tool. Okay, thank you very much for watching today's video. If you liked the video, be sure to smash that like button, of course. Or just clicking the button is also fine. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button because that's the way how we can grow our community. And of course, if you want to be notified every time a new video comes out, be sure to hit that notification bell as well. Click on it and you'll be notified every time a new video comes out. Like, hey, Lucas, it's got a new video. Oh yeah, and of course, if you haven't checked out my book yet, be sure to click the link down below in this video to get a copy of your own. Okay, thank you very much for watching and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye and happy investing.